This is Prince Handley coming to you with 100,000 watts of pure healing, Holy Spirit miracle-working love. I want to talk to you today about listening to God. Reading the news today about Israel and Jerusalem and the forces that are facing against them and trying to destroy them, my mind kept rolling over the great victories that God has given Israel in the past. My friend, if you want to experience great victories in your personal life, then you help Israel. The Bible tells us, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They will prosper that love her. So if you want to be blessed, you help the Jews. Get on God's side. Don't be against God, or you'll be on the losing side. And don't be against Israel, or you'll be on the losing side. I was driving down the street in Jerusalem, and going by at that time the new Jerusalem Hilton Hotel, I think that was about 1975, if I remember correctly. I was driving by, it was snowing, it was kind of a light snow in March, I believe it was, I don't remember exactly. Going by the hotel, the Spirit of God talked to me. He said, I want you to go in and I want you to book facilities and I want you to hold a seminar for the Messiah. What I want to speak to you specifically about today is listening to the voice of God. Listening to the Ruach Elohim, Spirit of God. So I went into the hotel, and I was directed to the sales manager, a man named Jacob Avneri. So as we met and discussed the seminar I wanted to have, he asked me, what is it that you want to do at the seminar? And so I told him that I was a believer in the Mashiach, in the Messiah Yeshua, and I wanted to hold meetings for both Jews and Arabs, or whoever wanted to come. So he was a little, well, maybe a lot hesitant. We began to talk, and finally I noticed a college ring on Jacob's hand. And I said, Yaakov, where did you go to university? And he said, at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. And I said, I used to live in Las Vegas. We began to talk back and forth, and we started really enjoying one another. So Yaakov told me, he said, you know what, I'm going to lease you the facilities. He said, but there's one condition. And I said, what's that? He said, you're going to have to allow us to do the catering. But even before that, the Holy Spirit had instructed me, whatever he says to you, do it. Agree with it. So I said, well, how much will that cost, Jacob? And he began to tell me, and I thought, whoa, the facilities themselves were expensive enough. And I remembered what God told me by his Spirit. He said, whatever he says, do it. I said, okay, go ahead and cater the facilities. So I had a seminar there, and without any press release or anything, God brought in Jews and Arabs and all kinds of people, brought in Gentiles, Goyim. And it was a tremendous seminar, and the Spirit of God began ministering in his gifts as I began to share about Yeshua. And there were miraculous healings, and I remember one United Nations officer came there. He was a major, I believe. The Lord gave me a word of knowledge for him. If you don't know what the word of knowledge is, it's where the Holy Spirit shows you a situation about someone or something. He reveals that situation. So I gave the word of knowledge, and this United Nations officer was dumbfounded. He was miraculously healed, and then the Lord baptized him in the Holy Spirit, in the Ruach Elohim, and he spoke in a new language, the language of the Spirit. He spoke in tongues, as we read about in the Jewish New Testament, in the Brit Hadashah, in the book of Acts, chapter 2. Well, later, that United Nations officer was able to get materials out of the country, out of Israel, to me in the United States. And from those, I was able to reach tens of thousands of wonderful Jewish people in the land of Israel. A while later, a Jewish man called me from San Francisco. He was from Tiberias. He had a business in Tiberias. He was probably in his early 60s. I was in my publishing house when he called. I don't know how he got a hold of me, because I had an unlisted phone number. The man told me, he said, I will pay anything to meet you. So I told him, I said, I'll meet you Thursday morning in the lobby of the Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim, California. So when he came, I recognized him from his description and what he would be wearing and so forth. So we went out to the rear of the main lobby where all the water pools are, and I talked to him for 2 hours from the Tanakh and shared with him the scriptures dealing with the Mashiach. And the Lord opened his eyes, opened his heart. He saw the light and received Yeshua as his Messiah. He was so happy, and by the way, he pulled out of his briefcase a piece of literature that his daughter had received. Now, as I said, he was in his early 60s, and his daughter had been raised and had her own family, and as a result of the United Nations officer being healed and baptized in God's wonderful Spirit, speaking in tongues and getting materials out of Israel for us to reach people in Israel, his daughter had received one of the pieces of literature that I sent to her. After about 6 weeks, she took it to her father. They both realized it was a sign from God. And that's why her father came all the way to the United States. Again, I never know how he got my number. I forgot to ask him. He received Yeshua, and I took him immediately back after that to the desk where he changed his flight and flew right back to Jerusalem. So the point I want to make today is it's important to listen to the Holy Spirit. Listen to God when he speaks to you. God may sometimes also give you an idea. It may not be an idea for you. It may be an idea for you to share with someone. We should be good stewards of the ideas that God gives us. So listen to the voice of God and then do what God tells you. Obey him. And then God will use you to help others. God will do miracles not only for you, but through you so that you can be blessed, but also be a blessing to those around you and those around the world. This has been your friend, Prince Handley, coming to you with 100,000 watts of pure, healing, Holy Spirit, miracle-working love. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai.